Get ready, it's free, 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 free. Get ready, it's free, 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 free. Get ready, it's free, 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 free. Ready, it's free, 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 free.
Hello and welcome to the Simply Free Little Talk here at the Lounge Soul Cafe. We're so excited. I am your host of the Simply Free Little Talk, and I have with me.
Hey everybody, I am Tan Tate, and I am so excited to be a part of the Lounge Soul Cafe. Listen, this is the place to be, so we are excited. I can't wait to see what Simply Free Little is going to do today.
Yes, we're so excited to be a part of this amazing internet radio, and we have so much to bring to the table. My co-host alone is phenomenal within her own rights. I tell you, to be a master life coach, I'm just so excited. She brings so much wealth of knowledge. Tan, you have so much to offer the people. You're doing so much, and I'm so excited. You're the first guest as well.
Right, and I'm excited to be here. You know, when I was first introduced to Simply Free, in case you guys didn't know, that's the phenomenal host of this show. And I know y'all might be saying, all y'all doing is just saying what y'all love about each other. Sometimes it be like that sometimes. And I just want to say I thank you for this platform, for this opportunity, because there are many places that you can't go and be free. I love it. I love it. And yes, as a master certified life coach, I do bring much because I've gone through much. But it reminds me, of that scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. And on that note, I want you to know that you are exceeding the requirement. I'm just excited to be here with you today.
Thank you. I could not have another co-host that brings what you are bringing. You are the table. You're not sitting at the table. You're not bringing things to the table. You have created the table for others to sit at. One of the things that I can honestly share with the audience is that Tan is not a person that stands for herself. Everyone that I have seen Tan assist, yes, she assists others in becoming who they are. And that's so grandly important to me in my heart. Since Simply Free Little loves to love on others. You are free to be free here at the Simply Free Little Talk. You are free to speak freely, to candidly have conversations, and just be transparent. And that's what you bring to the table that you've created. So I love you for that, Tan. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, and girl, talking about the table, it ain't nothing like having the chairs, the accessories, the fine wear. Some people, want to call it, China, right? The fine China,
Yes, the fine China.
The silver and all of that. But when you talk about being a table, I've learned that there's no greater table than the voice that the table allows. And being a part of the table that I bring, because we all have our own version of a table, but your table also is inclusive of voices of many. So thank you for what you do in the community. Thank you for being who you are, because what we need is a platform like the Simply Free Little Talk Show. We need to be able to have a voice. And I've seen the diversity of what you do. I've seen the wide reach of the topics, of the information. I've learned so much. Some people be watching talk shows for entertainment. Don't y'all get it twisted. You're going to get some entertainment here too, y'all.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, though, it's like the full course meal. So thank you for being informative, educating us, bringing resources, solutions. I mean, just a give back to the community. So thank you, Simply Free Little, for being Simply Free.
Wow, I'm so honored. And at the same time, you just set me up for what I wanted to share with them. So, those who do not know about Simply Free Little Talk Show, as your host here, I am a prophetess, I am a minister of the gospel, I am a professional life coach. But I tell you, one of the things of my background that I really love and that I'm able to bring the diversity because I was a community case manager as well as a reentry specialist. So, as Tan stated, we are going to bring you information. We're going to be starting up a legal show. So Tan and I are going to have the opportunity to interview individuals that are in the legal field. We're going to be interviewing those that are in entertainment because I'm also a coordinator for events and I love doing and having those opportunities. Let me say that. And I was also a correctional officer and a sergeant in TDC and a grievance hearing officer. So all of those things allow me, as Tan stated, to be versatile, to present variety of what happens in our society. But I want to go back to Tan, everyone. I want you to know that Tan has a loving spirit, but we're going to get more into depth later in her own one-on-one personal interview.
Up
So,
close and
Tan,
personal. I love it.
yes, we're going to get up and personal with her because I want you to know that I didn't just select a co-host that just as beautiful as she is and that brings so much to the table, but she is able to impart. You have to have a person that has the skills and the abilities to bring importation, and that's what you bring to the table, Tan. So let's get into a little girl talk. What's been happening, sister?
Girl, I'm telling you right now with me, what's been happening with me is that I just been kind of looking at the society that we look in, that we live in, and I've been just kind of side eyeing some things, and I feel like, especially, in our community with the men, with the Black men in our community, it's like that they are under attack. I mean, just recently, another celebrity rapper was killed, and I'm just like, why is this happening to our Black men? It doesn't seem like that is just only the death of life, but it seemed like it's the death of dreams, the death of purpose, the death of everything. So, girl, I've been in my prayer closet, interceding for the men of our communities, the men of our families, our fathers, brothers, uncles, nephews, sons, cousins, friends, because I have decided, not on my watch,
not on my watch. I love that.
Be able to come in and destroy our family units. So I got a prayer list. I done put some people on there that, some of y'all might be out there saying, what do you even know about these celebrity rappers or whatever. But, one of the things I learned from my mom, and that's the good thing about us, we had phenomenal women as mothers.
Yes, we had.
One of the things I learned about my mom, she told me that when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was killed, she was really grieved by that. She said she had a conversation with God and she asked him, well, why did he have to die? And God said, did you pray for him? And so she said, based on that interaction with God, she began a prayer list.
Yes.
For those frontline individuals, celebrities, politicians, pastors, leaders, to cover them. So we, as born again Christians, I feel like it's war.
It is.
And I'm like, not on my watch. So that's what's been stirring in me lately. Just looking at our Black men and saying, no, God has a purpose for you. You need to live and not die. You need to uncover the purpose. And one of the things I'm doing is I'm praying. So if y'all out there and y'all have people that you want on the prayer list,
that's good.
The prayer list that creates the change.
Yes.
If you want us to be praying for people in your families, in your networks, in your circles, please let us know. Hit us up. we're going to put the name
Yes.
on the prayer list.
We would love that. And this is a great plug at this point to say that that's the type of individual that I am, as well as Tan. And she and I have not communicated this, but let me enlighten everyone who's listening now that Tan spoke what I've been doing, and she was doing it simultaneously at the same time. She's
Mm-hmm.
praying, I'm praying, and standing in the gap for those that we may not ever see or know.
Mm-hmm.
And this is so apropos for me to hear that you were doing exactly the same thing that I've been doing. I've taken time off. Everyone who knew that has been
Mm-hmm.
watching the shows, I have taken time off to just reflect on what's happening in the world and what is my purpose. So, what Tan said, I would highly recommend that you are free to email us at simply free little talk all together at gmail.com. Let me state that again: simply free little talk at gmail.com. Tan and I are looking forward to your email. We are committed to pray for your loved ones, and we don't want to just limit to the males, but we do recognize that it is our males that are under attack. Tan, you said something that's so profound, and it is happening. We know that. So
Yeah.
we want to hear from you. We do want to hear from you.
Yes, and you're right. Not that we're excluding
Not
anybody
at
from
all.
this, but we're on the front line just for the men. It just seems like families are just being destroyed, and that is not how God intended for families to be. So whether it's self infliction, whether it's external, whether it's due to
Yes,
gun violence, mental issues, emotional issues, we just want the men to know that we care about you, that there is
absolutely.
help available to you. So again, please be sure to email us. We want to hear from you. We want to pray for you. We want to be in agreement with you. And Free, you're right. We haven't talked
Mhm.
about this, but it's
Not
something
at
about
all.
divine connections. It's something, and that you know what? I gotta say this.
Say it.
The other day at church, and y'all, we do go to church, so
Yes, we do.
so
We trust
we
God.
understand that this may not be the show, but if you want to grow, you want to stay here and
Yes,
don't
you
be
want to stay right
distracted.
here.
Don't be distracted by what I can't believe they do this. If you want to grow, this is the show.
This
So,
is the show.
girl, I was at church the other day, and the pastor was teaching on the ego mentality.
Oh, come on.
And one of the things that he said is that egos network with other egos.
That's it.
So when you talk about how neither of us knew what the other one
Mm,
was doing, but because we have the ego mentality,
yes,
we
absolutely.
are able to have that bond and be like the eagles. And it's not that they look down on other people, it's just a part of who they are. That's why they are egos. So if you out there and you consider yourself an eagle,
Mm.
but you hanging with the chickens,
Ah, come on now. Come up.
you more than likely a chicken.
Ah.
Eagles hang with eagles. And what we do together cause other people to become eagles.
Hmm.
So, I just wanted to incorporate that about the ego mentality. That
I
was
love
such a
it.
good sermon, a good teaching. It just kind of had me sitting up in my seat, and I'm like, oh,
Mm.
yes, yes, yes. He talked about how eagles, how they are able to still live through a storm is because
Hmm.
they fly over the storm and they allow the storm to carry them. That's why you don't
Yes.
see eagles. That's why you don't see a flock of eagles.
Mm-mm.
They don't need the wind from the other birds that be flying together because they be flying together for the strength. The eagle has the
Mhm.
intelligence
Yes.
to rise above the storm and let the storm carry him where he needs to go. Sometimes not sometimes, that's how we have to be in life. When
That's
we
how we
dealing
have to
with
be
the
in life.
storms of life, we got to realize because of who we are and whose we are, we have the ability to soar and fly above the storm and let it carry us to where we
Yes.
need to be.
Into where we need to be. That is a great place to plug this. That also covenant relationships will teach you She said that the eagle, and we call ourselves in reference eagle sisters, and
Yes.
that means we're in covenant together. I am
Mhm.
obligated to Tan and she's obligated to me. Now that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that she weighs me down or I weigh her down, but I'm obligated to lift her up. She's obligated to lift me up.
Yes.
And it's no coincidence, it is just ordained of God that she is on the same assignment. Gotta
Mhm.
say, talk about we have to talk
Yes.
about assignments. When you are an
Yes.
eagle sister, you have an assignment, and they're so similar in so many ways that we combined the assignment. It comes together, and
Yeah.
it's a glue that's better than super glue.
Mhm.
It's a bond. And Tan spoke so well about that we go above the storm. So there was not that it was not a storm in her life or storms in mine. We just wave. Like you ever heard somebody
Mhm.
say that I'm riding the waves? They're
Mhm.
on top of the wave when they're riding it. So
Mhm.
we too, when storms in our lives come up, come on, this is good. We're on
Mhm.
top of it, and it actually pushes you and propel you to your rightful positions.
Absolutely.
So we
Absolutely.
teach you here on the Simply Free Little Talk how to navigate through the storm. That's good,
Yes.
man. I love
Yeah,
that you brought
it's
that
real
up.
good. And just like you said, it navigates you, it pushes you when you ride in the wave. So
Yes.
instead of us having the mentality of why me,
Come on.
me, we need to develop the attitude and the intelligence of let this take me where I need to be.
Where I need to
Come
be.
on, Storm.
Right position.
Let me take you where I need to be. Because when you're in the right position at the right time, it allows the right things to transpire in your
Yes,
life. That's why it's called
absolutely.
seasons. So, and some of us, we missing stuff because
Mm.
we out of the storm.
Come on.
We fail to raise above it. We just sitting
Mm.
back and watching it. So we out of it,
Ah,
as opposed to saying, okay, I remember who God says I am. I know who I
yes,
am. I know
yes.
that I have a future, that He gave me a future and a hope.
Mm.
I know that He knew me before He formed me in my mom's womb. So I must know that this thing right here is designed to take me someplace. So first of all, let me develop a teachable mentality. Let me be
That's it.
coachable. Okay, Storm, and I'm please hear me good. I'm not saying that you want to invite the storm in your life, but when you find yourself in a storm, don't get stuck in trying to figure out why me, why
Mm.
me.
I
Instead,
love that.
begin to learn what is it that I need to get from this? Where am I
Yes,
supposed to be? And therein lies the eagle mentality that will help you rise above the storm and keep riding the wave till you
absolutely.
get where you're supposed to be.
You get on top of the storm, and you are supposed to question, as Tan stated. I get it completely what you're stating to the audience today, and I will encourage you that all we need to do is, Lord, what am I supposed to learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
Because He's always getting things to us. One of the greatest lessons that I try to share with individuals is there's always an exchange. There's
Mm-hmm.
an exchange because you're giving Father your fears, you're giving to Him your concerns of why this storm is, but the storm has purpose and it has value for your life. All He's doing is adding to you, He's
Mm-hmm.
never taking away. And even if something is removed from your life, it's an extraction that had to go. Have you ever had anything that had to move out of your life, Tan, but it actually propelled you to the right place, the right position, in the right alignment that you need? Come on now, this is an alignment
Abs-
season.
absolutely. Such
Ah,
as, i.e., my ex-husband.
come on. It
Some,
had to go. He had to
and
go.
I'm not gonna, like bash or
No,
anything, but
we're not here to badger.
I'm just saying when I was going through that,
Yes,
I'm just like,
purpose.
oh, woe is me. I'm
No.
hurt. I'm this. I'm that. When actuality, first of all, the way that things were in the marriage, the way that he was treating me is not what husbands do.
Exactly. Not
So
at all.
you're not even my husband. We just
You're
we
not the
just
one. Goodbye.
right. So right. And so and because of the realization of that, that helped me get to a place where I needed to be. And
Yes.
listen, y'all, we know it don't feel good when you in the heart of that thing, when you in the
Absolutely
heart
not.
of betrayal, the heart of
Come on,
disappointment,
speak.
the heart of you always being the one. And then when you need
Yes.
somebody, can't nobody be there. Totally understand. That's why
Been there
eagles
many
run
times.
with eagles. We
Come
cannot
on.
control what other people behavior, character, lack of integrity,
Come on.
lack of work ethic is, but we can control our responses. And so we got
Yes.
to be mindful and take ownership and say, okay, yeah, that season is up. It's time for me to move on.
That
Sometimes we
season
want
is
to
up.
stay, sometimes we want to stay stuck because we enjoy it there. We enjoy
Mm.
being comfortable there. So we need to come step outside of our comfort zone. And success is not a good feeling at first. It takes
Come on.
work,
Speak that.
blood, sweat, disappointment, betrayal. It takes all of those things. However, when you continue to step outside of your comfort zone and realize a season is up, something else, my pastor said, free, and it was so good to me because he also been teaching on seasons, understanding
Okay.
the season that you're in,
Understanding.
the season that you're in. And it's a really good teaching there too. But he said something. He said, don't become somebody else's Jonah. And
Mm.
we know what happened to Jonah. Jonah began to cause other people to go through stuff that they
Yes.
were supposed to go through
What's supposed to.
because he was out of season, he was out
Mm.
of place, he wasn't where he was supposed to be. So don't allow somebody to become a Jonah in your life.
Yes.
And
In
don't you
your life.
become a Jonah in somebody else's life.
Yes.
We know when it's up, we know when it's time to move
Seasons have
on.
to be up. Yes.
So all you got to do is execute that thing, take action,
Mm.
and recognize. Because that's, ever since he taught on that, I'm like, you know what, Lord, I don't want to be somebody else's Jonah,
No.
and I don't want no Jonahs in my life.
You know, I don't want them
If
in
I
mine.
know, if I know I can't add value to you,
Mm-mm.
to help you, it's time for me to go. I'm not for
Absolutely.
everybody. Everybody not for me. Seasons
Wow.
in. So that's where I'm at right now. Pretty little.
And I agree with everything that you stated, sis. Let me tell you, I'm getting excited over here because as she was speaking, I was reflecting of where I've been in my season of now.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a season of now, there's a season of past, and there's a season of entry that you're
Mm-hmm.
going to go into. And
Mm-hmm.
hearing my sissy, I call her sissy, speak, and the manner in which she spoke, it was like, we're on the same page, but yet we have not communicated this. And
Ego
I just
mentality.
personally believe, this is just my belief, that there was a reason for that because the Father Himself is the one who ordains it all. And I believe He needed you to be developed to know that, and for me to hear you say it so I can say, look, we're on the same page at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, right season, positioning. The words that your word choices are very crucially important. And you can always tell when you have an ego covenant sister.
Mm-hmm.
Everything sister said, I can agree. Realignment, reset, being in the right position. Those are things that I have been meditating on. And she spoke everything that
Mm-hmm.
I am dealing with. That's why I was able to talk about riding the waves. She
Mm-hmm.
spoke about the eagles, and I understood that same teaching and metaphor
Mm-hmm.
of we're above the storms. And that's why I've been riding in a place of peace, even when hell was all around me. Can I say that again? In a
Amen.
place of peace when hell was all around. So I want to encourage you guys as we are coming to a close of the first half of our show because we got to let our sponsors in, sis.
Yeah.
Got to sponsors
Yes. Yes.
got to
Yes.
say. But it's just so amazing that how things come together. There's an order, there's a structure, and there's a method. Did I
Mm-hmm.
say that? Let me say it again. There's an
Yes.
order, there's a structure, and there's a method to everything. So
Yes.
if you
Yes.
live in those veins, then you will walk in your victory. Can we agree?
Absolutely. You
Oh, I'm
know,
enjoying this today.
absolutely, absolutely. I just love it, and that you couldn't have said it any better. So,
Oh, I
you
love
know,
it. I
I,
love what God is doing, not only in our lives, but we're going to also tell you guys that, and we're very knowledgeable of what's going on in the world. We see it. That's why she's been led to pray, and I've been led to pray. We're hearing things about children being murdered by their parents. When in ever the world have you seen so many cases of parents abusing their children?
mhm,
Mothers committing murder, fathers committing murder against their children, their
it's
own flesh and blood. Come on now.
right. It just reminds me of what my mom used to say. The world is going to come to an end. So you need to make sure that you're ready.
You need to make sure you're
Everybody
ready.
ready, and that's like having that relationship with Christ, with God. You
Yes,
know,
absolutely
to
having.
everybody, check your own heart, check your own self. I'm not here to
Yes,
judge anybody or anything, but when you're ready, when you stand before Judgment Day,
yes.
what will you hear?
What will you
Because
give?
it is definitely coming. However, until that time, I'm still
Yes,
I'm still endeavored to do what it is that God has called
yes.
me to do while I'm still here.
Why are you
And,
here?
and like you said, the family unit, it has to come back
It has.
together to be in harmony. I have never, I grew up in an era, and even my children, where we were what they call latchkey kids.
Come on.
You can just come on home. You're gonna be at home, do what you need to do. It was a time where neighbors were concerned about other people's children. They
Definitely.
wasn't snatching them. They wasn't abusing them.
Mhm.
And I get it. There's always probably been an element of some sort of abuse, but it is
Yes,
rampant. People talk about COVID being a pandemic, but abuse been a pandemic for a very, very long time. Whether it
yes.
was, whether it was verbally, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, we've been in this pandemic thing. So now the question is, what will we do? What will you do?
That's a good question. And I have two things I want to state before we give it over to our sponsors. The word says, work out your own salvation. So I'm going to encourage everyone as we are closing this session of our talk show, Simply Free Little Talk. And you just think about it, work out your own salvation. That means focus on self and self improvement. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
you're here with the professional life coach, but you're here also with the master certified life coach that can impart some great things to you. Thank you, Tan, for being here. And then also, we know that as Tan stated, we're in the world where the things that are wrong, people are saying is right. And the things that are right, they're looking at it as wrong. She talked about the things that happened in our childhood growing up, the latchkey kid, how the neighborhood looked out for one another. We want you to reflect on those things because at Simply Free Little Talk, we're going to address all of those topics and give you an opportunity to give us that feedback. Again, Simply Free Little Talk at gmail.com. Send us your prayer requests. Send us the things that you would like us to talk about. We'll chime in on that which you have. Tan, you want to say anything before we turn it over to our sponsors?
I just want to say that we love our listening audience. We
Yes.
want to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the Lounge Soul Cafe, where the
Yes.
Simply Free Little Talk Show is here. I am
It's
Tan
here.
Tate, your co host here, and we just are delighted to have you. Yes, let us hear from you. Send us your topics, send us your concerns, send us your thoughts. Perhaps you may have a response to some things that you've heard here today. We want to hear from you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in and listening here with the Simply Free Talk.
Yes. We thank you again as you're tuning in to the Lounge Soul Cafe, the internet radio, your choice for excellence. And we're going to stop now so that our sponsors can give us a few words, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
You're listening to TLSC Radio. Keep it locked.
Oh, Tam, wasn't that great of our sponsors to give us such words of encouragement? We just thank you for that time with our great sponsors.
Absolutely. And right now, I'm just excited to be back in the Lounge Soul Cafe with the lovely
Yes.
Free Little, the host of the Simply Free Little talk show. So I'm just glad to be back. Yes. And I truly enjoyed the first segment, the first half. Girl, whew, that was some good stuff there that you
Yes,
brought.
it really was. I love what you brought to the table. So, again, here on the Lounge Soul Cafe Internet Radio, here we're excited that the Simply Free Little Talk is here to bring you some great information. But we have our first guest. Drum roll. It is Tan Tate.
Yes, yes. And the crowd goes
Yes.
wild. Ah, yes,
We love
yes.
it. We love it.
Yes, I'm so excited. Thank you for having me here
Oh,
as
it
the
is a
guest.
pleasure.
I feel like I feel so special because when everybody be trying to be the first,
Come on.
so to be the first is just all I can say is thank you and thank
Oh,
God.
I wouldn't have had anyone else here for the first show that we are launching here on the Lounge Soul Cafe. I love it. I
Yes,
want people to know the amazement of why I'm in awe, why I admire you so, because you have accomplished so much but this was things that was a progression for you, correct?
absolutely, absolutely. It was, and it's still a progression.
It's still a progression. I like
I
that you
said,
said that as
I,
well.
yes, I said to someone probably last night. I don't actually what I said to them, just to give the full context, is
Yes.
how I have a couple of mentors, and they said, "You have a mentor?" And I
Yes.
said, absolutely. I said, I don't ever want to stop learning. I don't ever want to
Mm.
stop growing. I don't ever want to stop developing. I don't ever want to stop being the best I can be in my purpose. So, absolutely, yes, I have a mentor or two. And this is a good plug to say if you out there listening, and if you don't have a mentor, I
Come
would
on.
recommend you get a mentor. You'll be
Yes.
surprised how your life changes under the tutelage of a mentor.
That's right. That is so. I totally concur with you. I have coaches, I have mentors, I have spiritual advisors, I have
Mm-hmm.
those that are just the type of friend that say, you were wrong, point
Mm-hmm.
blank, period. Or they say, you were right, but here's the plan that you should follow. And they don't,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a instructive things like this is what you must do. It is a guide to these are your options, or this is the best
Yes.
practice to handle that. So I love that you brought that. That's a great point. But that's why we're interviewing Tan, because she is here with so much. Let me just take the time to share with the Lounge Soul Cafe of who we have as our special guest here on the Simply Free Little Talk. It is my co-host Tan Tate, who is Tan Tate Innovative Solutions Incorporated. She is the Hope Coach. You can find her as the Master Certified Coach. She's the host of Tea Time with Tan. She is also the host of The Hope to Cope. I love it. And also, she has a nonprofit organization. I would like you to state what it is, but she also has the Hope Show, Hopeville. Tell us about the nonprofit.
Absolutely. I have a nonprofit foundation. It's a 501c, and it is entitled Luby's House of Hope. And it's because all of what you've just heard originated out of the worst tragedy
Mm,
of my life. The worst tragedy of my life became the greatest triumph, continues to be the greatest triumph because hope showed up. And
mm.
when hope shows up, you have the ability to see new. Hope is about new opportunities, new seasons,
Ah,
new purpose, new challenges.
yes,
But it is
yes,
the light in the darkness that will get you there. And I keep talking about how the greatest tragedy of my life became the greatest triumph and is
yes,
directly connected to hope. You mentioned my
mhm,
business, Tantake Innovative Solutions
yes,
Incorporated. You mentioned the Master Certified Coach, the Life Coach, the Hope Coach. You
yes,
mentioned Hope to Cope. which is the show that I do. Come get your daily dose of hope. You mentioned the Hope Show. Welcome to Hopeville, the
Hmm.
life skills show that I do. Also, as an author, I've written a couple of books,
Yes,
have some
yes,
products out there, and all of those things came out of hope. Because in my darkest of darkest days,
yes,
that's when my only daughter was killed. And it's
mm,
so funny that we're doing this because her birthday is right around the corner.
yes.
Normally, a very well, I don't know how the year gonna go, but this year is
Mm,
shaping up to be one of the most challenging times for me. However, I thrive in hope. Hope
yes.
is the air that I breathe.
I
Hope
love it.
is the pulse that I feel. Hope is the heartbeat of my heart. Hope also became an acronym for me, helping others prevail every day.
Helping others prevail every day.
So when I look at myself and I look at life, I'm always asking myself, how am I bringing hope? How am I
Mm,
being hope? What am I doing that is hope? And so I'm just grateful to God. I'm grateful
wow.
to God because He is the great hope.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
And if
is.
you're out there and you're listening, because we're going to be approaching, it's holiday time. I'm not
True.
just different seasons because it don't even have to be a holiday. If you've
Mm-mm.
encountered the death of a loved one, the death of a marriage, the death of a job, the death of a friendship, whatever
Yes.
that death may be, you grieve.
Yes.
And so
Absolutely,
I'm
Tina.
just grateful that in my grief, oh y'all, and that thing was ugly.
Mm,
Hope showed up, and that was the
yes.
fuel that I needed to become who I was purposed to be.
Ah, destined to be. And I intentionally left out one thing that you have, and I stated all the other things and accolades that you have been led by God to create, because everything that I stated, it's directly connected to others,
Yeah,
assisting others. But the last thing I want to share with you is Tan is the owner of a TV station. It is
yes,
faith-based HPTV, Hope and Peace Television. It is on Roku, it's on Apple TV and Amazon Television. I just wanted to state those things because you have created an opportunity for others. And that's one of the things in my notes that I put. I said, I admire Tan, because sometimes we give people their praise and their accolades about what they've done for others. And that's one of the things I admire about you. But I wanted to state to everyone that's listening, I admire Tan Tate because she is an excellent example of a person taking tragedy, pain, and allowing hope to enter in, but it's for others.
yes,
Everything that I named, Tan, you're benefiting others. I love the journal that Simply Free Little Talk gave away.
yes,
Beautiful
yes,
journal.
yes. My
But all
journal
these
of
things are
hope.
birthed out of your pain.
Absolutely. When I began to go through this process, um, I just realized that we go through things, we
Mhm.
grow through things, we develop things to help us redefine and define
Yes,
who it is God created us to be so we can be blessings to others. And sometimes in society, we forget that we have the ability to bless someone. You can bless them with a smile, bless them with
yes.
a hug, bless them with a kind word, and when we begin to bless people, it
Mhm.
translates to hope.
Yes.
Because sometimes people have been unsaid, Lord, just show me a sign.
Ah.
When you come along and you say, "Oh, what a beautiful smile you have today," and that person in their mind was like, "Okay, God, I do need to live. I don't need to commit suicide.
Come
Someone
on.
is noticing me." And so I've just learned that I want to A, be a blessing to others, and then B, I've come to learn that we have to be the hope that we want to see, because you know what we call to happen for others.
Yes.
Not only do we cause it for us, but we begin to set up generational blessings for
Come
our
on.
families. And this is something that hope can do. Oftentimes we talk about generational curses, but I want to talk about generational blessings.
Talk
You
about it.
have the right to create and generate
Come on. Talk
generational
about faith.
blessings for your lineage to come behind you, for your family, for your generation, that generation, for your children's children, your children's children, your children's
Mm,
children's children. So that's why I'm mindful about the blessings,
yes.
why I live and thrive in hope. Because I'm like, there's gonna be a time when I'm not gonna be on this earth, but
Mm-mm.
my legacy will live forever. And the
Yes.
blessings of generational blessings will continue because once somebody get it, they recreate it for somebody else,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else. So even though I was devastated when my daughter was killed, even though I went through a very dark period,
Mm.
I discovered that there is always purpose connected to the pain.
Yes.
And
Yes. Yes.
because there is purpose in the pain, there are promises
Come on.
to God. And because of the promises, you will prevail. So when God
Definitely.
began to show me the purpose in my pain, when He began to deposit that thing, I also do an annual walk of hope.
Hmm.
It's
Yes.
held every first Saturday in June. And this was where everything began. It all began with the walk. I began
Right.
to think, as a mother who was grieving, what could I do to honor my daughter? And as
Hmm.
a young girl, she wanted to be a school teacher. So we set up her bedroom like a classroom. And on the blackboard, she wrote, "All days are good, some are just better." That moment in time changed how I saw life. So,
Yes.
parents, sometimes your children can be some of the best coaches.
Yes. Yes. They
My,
can.
my daughter coached me to realize that all my days are good, some are just better. They even told me that when I got the news that she was killed,
Hmm.
um, and because of some medical circumstances, I had been drugged with one of the most potent drugs that there is. And the doctors told my son that he only had a small window of time to tell me before I would be out of it.
Yes.
And so, but they tell me when I got the news, because I don't remember, that A, they knew I had got the news because they could hear me screaming all over the hospital.
Mm.
But B, that I began to say, all my days are good, some are just better.
Yes.
I didn't even know that when my daughter taught me that it was preparing me for
Yes.
what's to
Preparation.
come in my future.
Ah,
Because I had been coached and because I knew that, I began to speak that all my days are good, some are just better. So out of that was birthed in my daughter's memory, legacy. It used to be called the All Days Are Good, Some Are Just Better Walk of Faith.
mm.
But on the 10th year, it changed to the All Days Are Good, Some Are Just Better Walk of Hope. And we invite people in communities to come out and walk that thing out. Whatever it is that you're hoping for, whatever it is that you're grieving over, whatever it is that you may need, we come out as a community and we walk that thing out. We're walking with faith and great hope that your needs will be met, that there'll be nothing missing, nothing lacking. And the walk grew. It's been held in states all around of the United States. And so I'm grateful for that. So if you're out there listening,
Yeah.
audience, you say, you know what? I want to host a walk of faith, the walk of hope in my
That's
city,
good.
in my state. Email us and we can get you the information.
Mhm.
The cost is very minimal. Typically I send you everything you need. All you have to do is rally the people who's going to walk with
That's
you
it.
for this event because we want the world to know. We want to send a message of hope that all your days are good, some are just better. Even in the darkness, God is still there. Angels are still there
Still
working
there.
on our behalf. And so
Mhm.
started there and then it just developed became the coach. I wanted to help grieving mothers. I wanted to help mother and daughter relationships. I just took a journey. I ended up getting in a profession where I became a professional coach, a performance coach. And so then some things happen. I'm like, you know what? I've been this person all for all these years.
All these years,
Now I
yes.
might as well do what I was purposed to do. But had it not been for the pain, had it not been for the tragedy, somebody is right now, you're listening, and you think that where you are is how the story ends.
Ah, come on, teach.
You're thinking that you will never smile again, that you won't breathe again, that you won't laugh again, that you won't love again. I'm here, a living witness, to tell you I too was at that place. But hope showed up.
Hope showed
And
up.
when hope shows up, it allows you to see what you need to see. I began to uncover the purpose in the pain. Where you're at right now is not how your story ends. God promised that He gave you a future and a hope, and He can't lie. So what you're going through, you're gonna grow through. And yes, that pain don't feel good. When
Mm-mm.
we are grieving, it don't feel good when you can't get pregnant. It don't feel
Yeah.
good when you lose a child to death. It doesn't feel good when you get divorced. It
Mm.
doesn't feel good when you lose a spouse to death. It doesn't feel good when you've been best friends for 40 something years and then all of a sudden there's a rift and you're no
Yes.
longer friends. So, what I'm trying to share is that I have come to know that we grieve for a variety of different reasons. But in your grief, hope,
Yes.
hope will
Hope
allow you to
prevails.
see a different lens. And so, and it started out small, pretty little.
Mhm.
It was like real small, like a little mustard seed. Like they talk about the
Come
mustard
on,
seed.
like our faith.
I got a hold to a mustard seed of hope.
Ah,
And when I
that's
got
good.
hold of that hope, I began to say, Tan, you don't want to live like this anymore.
No.
10, you need to get the help that you need.
Yes.
10, it's okay not to be okay.
Ah,
10, don't get stuck where you're at. 10, you have so much to live for. Oftentimes in these type of situations in my personal journey, people say, oh, they wouldn't want you to be sad. They don't
ah.
want you to do this. But that's not
Mhm.
what you need to hear.
That's
Because
not
the
what you want
fact
to
of
hear
the
as
matter
well.
is, right, because the fact of the matter is we are human.
Yes.
And even when Jesus got to Lazarus and he was gone, Jesus cried.
Yes, he did. He wept.
He
He
missed his
wept.
friend, but then Jesus remembered who he was. So,
Come
in the
on.
midst of our grief, of our darkness, I had to remember who I was, free.
Ah, come on. I
Remember
love
who
it.
I
I love
was.
what you're stating right
And,
now.
and hope showed up to begin to fuel me to say, Tan, remember who you are. And just like Jesus had that epiphany, and he began to
Mm.
call out to Lazarus, and Lazarus rose from the dead, I began to call out to myself,
Yes.
Tan, come on,
Arise.
Tan, 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 you got purpose, girl. You got this. You need to do this, Tan. You need to do that. And that, along with praise and worship, was the formula that
Yes.
hope brought me to
Wow.
get me from that dark place. So I just want to share that your story does not end where
That's it.
you're at. That hope, it is so powerful.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes we get stuck in depression. We get
Mm.
stuck in sadness. We get stuck in anger. We get stuck in I
Unforgiveness.
just don't want to do this anymore. No
Yes.
motivation. We get stuck.
Yes. Laziness.
But
Yes.
hope will fuel you
Yes. Come
because
on, talk about the refueling.
it allows you to see, girl, you need to pull into a gas
Come on.
station and fill up on
Come
hope.
on.
And
Mm.
filling up on hope for me was getting the help that I needed. So I sought professional help
Yes.
for
That's
my
good.
mind. I
That's
sought
good.
professional help for my spirit. I
Yes.
sought professional help for my emotions. And then I held
Good.
myself accountable through the process. See, the tragedy occurred.
Yes.
My daughter was killed, but that was not responsible for my healing.
Mm-mm.
I had to be responsible for my healing.
Responsibility. Wow.
Sometimes we go through things, and and I'm gonna be quiet after this because I know you probably got some questions for me because it's probably an interview. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm telling my story. So take the
No,
mic,
I've
take the
enjoyed
mic.
what you did. I love it. I
And I
love
just want to end it. This my story
it.
time with this, and then you can ask me some questions. But hope allowed me to see that I needed to pull in to the hope station,
Yes.
and I needed to fill up. People been talking about the high price of gas, but no
Mm,
matter how high it was, they still went to that gas station and got gas because they
they
needed to get
still did.
somewhere. Hope is free,
Yes.
but
Speak
you got
on
to
it.
do something. You got to pull into the hope station, and you got to get whatever grade of hope you need. Right now, if you can only take the low grade of hope, fill up on that.
Mm,
If you can take the mid grade of hope, fill up on that. If you can take the premium grade, fill up on that. So you say, so what are the three grades? The three grades. So
mm,
the first grade is, what is your hope language? What are you
yes.
saying? If you're saying I can't make it, if you're saying this is too hard, if you're saying I'm just going to be depressed for the rest of my life, you need to pull in and begin to change your hope language. That mid grade, where you realize I need some help. Don't be afraid, and I'm an advocate for whatever works for you. Don't
Yes.
be afraid to get the medication if you need the medication. Don't be afraid to get a therapist. Don't be afraid to go see the psychologist. Don't be afraid to go see the medical doctor. Don't be afraid to go see your pastor, your
Yes.
spiritual teacher, your spiritual mentor. Whatever it takes, that
Whatever.
grade. Because see, that mid grade is what's going to get you to that premium grade. And that premium grade is where you begin to uncover the purpose in your pain. See,
Yes.
you got these people in your corner who's filling you up with what you need. You're gonna begin to uncover.
Uncover.
And I'm not leaving out God because at
Mm-mm.
every grade, God is right there. He
Right
is
there.
the hope. He is the hope. He is the promise. He is
Yes.
the purpose. We sometimes just need to pull into the hope station and fill up. I know it ain't easy. So you got me, you have Simply Free. If you're out there, email us. It's a safe
Yes.
place.
It's a
It's a
safe
place you
place.
can be free and you
That's
can
right. That
begin
is it.
to work on your hope grade and
Mm,
be who God designed for you to be. Whew,
yes.
that
I'm
was
so
good for me.
grateful to you for allowing yourself. You poured out, you've been cultivated in this and rooted in hope, guys. And so that's why it was so apropos for our first show here at the Lounge Soul Cafe Internet Radio for the Simply Free Little Talk to have our own co-host, Tan Tate, to come on
Yeah.
and pour out and explain why her pain led her to hope and why now she is on a huge platforms that pour out about hope. She's an author, she is a business owner, and you heard earlier all the wonderful business adventures and endeavors that she's currently involved in to help produce more hope for others. So on the Simply Free Little Talk, I am your host, Free Little. My co-host is
Tan Tate, the hope coach.
yes,
Yes, the hope coach,
the
helping others
hope
prevail
coach.
every day. And I'm here because at the Simply Free Little Talk Show, I'm free to be me.
And we are free to be me.
Yes,
That's what we
yes.
want to make you remember. Keep saying it every day. You are free to be me.
Yes,
Free to be
yes.
you.
I
We,
am free to be me. I am
that's it.
free to
All
be
right.
me. And if
And
we could
that's
just
what
make
we're
a
going to
sentence
leave
out
you
of this,
with.
I am free. Since I am free to be me, I know that all my days are good. Some are just better
Yes,
because I
I am
am
free.
free to be
That's
me.
it. I am free to be me. And so we thank you for tuning in. We encourage you to look for the next show. Tune in here on the Simply Free Little Talk with your host, Free Little, and your co-host.
Tan Tate, the whole coach.
All
And
right.
girl, where are
Yes.
we at right now? We are in the Lounge Soul Cafe.
Yes.
What a place to be. I'm so
What a
excited
place
to
to
be here.
be. You're
Yes.
excited about it. So remember, be free to be free. See you.
See you until the next time.
Until the next time.